So, one of the things that people are often most anxious about in this subject is blogs. Blogs doesn't even sound like an English word. And in fact, it's not. It's two words smushed together, web and log, weblog. That's how we got this word, blog. And blogs are basically little memos, tiny missives, usually no more than 500 words, that are written on the internet. They can be done on blogger sites like Blogger or Blogspot or WordPress or other places. Now, historically in BA1002, we used to blog on these actual live blog forums. We'd make it private so that it was still locked down to our group. But we found that that just made people really anxious because there was a set of skills involved in just learning how to sign up to a blog site. And we just thought that we would simplify things this year. So instead of actually live blogging, we're going to be writing in a blog format, but just using the discussion board on LearnJCU. So if you want to look at what some of the blogs used to look like, you can. I think that hyperlink might still work at Blogspot. I'm not sure, but this just gives you an example. You can see that it has hyperlinks in it, but you can also see that we have some requirements. For instance, that you cite the reading, that you actually reference the lectures, and that's our little tricky way of keeping you accountable to making sure that you're following along in this subject when you've got lots of other demands on your time. You can also look for examples of blogs and some more information about blogging for this subject on the BA1002 LibGuide, which is an absolutely wonderful resource that our librarians have created for us alongside us as lecturers and with the learning advisors here at JCU. So moving on, oops, gone backwards, let's go forwards. The blogs. Now everybody must complete and upload their first blog on the LearnJCU discussion board by Friday midnight, week 3. You will find in that discussion board folder an exemplar blog is already available on the key concept of power. And the point here is that you're meant to be using our assigned reading for the week, as well as referencing our lecture, to define something about power or use your new vocabulary from social theory to be able to observe power in a more academic and nuanced way. In particular, you're going to be looking at how power is played out in your online network of choice. So you can blog on power on Facebook or power on TikTok or power on Snapchat or power on Discord or whatever online social media platform you like. And you don't have to blog on the same one each week. Now, every year, and increasingly so, there's people who hate social networking and are not a part of any of that and don't want to have a footprint on the internet. And we understand that. And so you don't actually have to be a part of a social network to participate in this subject. You can just generalize about online digital life, and that'll still work. Now, you'll note that we do have some academic parameters around this, which is that we do want you to quote and reference using APA referencing. And if you don't know what that is, go to our LibGuide as well, and it shows you all the things you need to know about the APA system. Now, in each blog, you must also refer to something from the lecture and apply something from your set reading to what you observe about the week's concept. Now, we need you to reference the academic reading, but you can also reference the blog. That's fine. So in week 3, our key concept will be power. So your first blog needs to be power on the internet. And you're going to apply the ideas to something you observe about the online network of choice in which you're observing as a participant observer, or just something, as I said, about digital life. And you're going to post that log by Friday, week 3 in LearnJCU in the discussion board. And we're going to give you lots more instruction about this in week 3. And then I'm going to give you feedback on your blogs, just generalized, in week 4, so you can fix stuff up the next time you blog. But doing so, we know, overcomes a barrier of anxiety and courage, takes some courage to write in public. And so we give you a free 5% just for posting online by week 3 toward your overall 30% participation grade. You get another 5% the next time you blog as well, because there's 2 of these you need to do before the end of week 8. So you subsequently choose 1 more week on which to blog in real time between week 4 and week 8. Depending on what key concept we're doing that week. So week 4's key concept, you can blog on that. Week 5's key concept, you can blog on that. Week 6, keys, and you follow along. But you can't decide, oh, I'm going to blog on power in week 7. You've got to blog on what we're doing that week in week 7. And that's also just to keep you accountable to attending lectures, following along. Now, your last date to post a blog on Blogger is week 8, Friday. So everybody posts by Friday, week 3 on Power, and then you get a choice on when you want to post your second blog. And you can let that be informed by what key concept you find the most interesting. And of course, you can also let that be informed by your other commitments and other subjects and in your life in terms of when you have time to write your second one. The idea is that by the end of week 8, everybody has then posted 2 blogs, and then you collect both of those blogs together and you paste them in a document, and you can polish that and look at the assessment criteria, and you've learned a lot by reading everybody else's blogs by then, and you go, oh, I like that, I like that. Now, don't copy other people's blogs. It just gives you a sense of good practice when you're looking at what your whole cohort is doing, and you've got a chance to then polish things before you submit for marks in week 9. Monday, week 9. So each well-written academic blog must have 6 components, remembering that 6 is the magic number in this 6 degrees of separation class. It needs to have a compelling title. It needs to be relevant as well. It needs to have at least 1 formal reference, an APA citation, to the assigned weekly reading, used in a judicious way around which you build your argument or define the key concept in a way you'll analyze and observe it in your social network. So you're going to define power, for example, with reference to something in your reading. And you can quote from your reading and you can paraphrase from your reading, but you need to cite. You can also, of course, reference the blog that week. At least 1 well-chosen quote from the week's lecture, and that's to keep you accountable for watching the lectures. And that helps you build your argument and make your observations about the key concept in your online social network or in digital life. Because it's networked, we want you to include a hyperlink, and we're going to teach you how to do that if you don't know already, so don't be distressed. And you need to have a picture because online communication is incredibly image-centered, but you need to reference that. And then finally, you need to have an APA formatted reference list. So all of these things are repeated in your subject outline, in the assessment description, and in the assessment criteria. Now, don't forget, you've got a lot of people here to help you. You're part of a network. You're not necessarily well connected to it yet, but part of this subject is to build cohort and to help you become connected. So we do want you to become connected to your classmates. You also have your past session leaders. Now, I've said free weekly study group sessions online Monday after the lecture or Tuesday afternoon. I'm not entirely sure that those are the times that your past leaders are going to be meeting with you this week and to come. But I will be posting further information about when PASS will be available soon. You also have your college student support officers in the Collaborate session. You're going to meet all of these people this week. You also have JCU Learning Advisors based in the library. They're also available for external students online. You have your teaching team, that's me and your tutor. And of course, you have other students in the BA degree, people who have gone before you and made a way. And you also can connect online to the Bachelor of Arts Student Society. They have a Facebook presence, and they are looking for new leaders because they do usually have a real-life presence as well. It's really important to get to know people in other years and in other majors, if not only because they're wise, they've trod this path for you, and you might actually change your mind about what major you want to major in the end. Now, what are you blogging about in week 3 and in general? I've used this word participant observer already, and I want you to realize that you are a participant observer of internet life. Now, it's something we take for granted. It's become part of our whole life. Many of you are, if you're millennials, what they call a digital native. So you have never been alive at a time when there was not the internet. It's been just such a part of your life. But for those of us who are a bit older, we remember what life was like before the internet, and it's still kind of a strange place to us. It doesn't matter whether it's strange or familiar. Your job as a student now is to see it through new academic eyes. So in week 3, we're going to be asking you to think about the internet through the lens of the first key concept, which is power. And we're going to be introducing academic definitions of power and theories of power, and asking you and giving examples of how to perhaps apply them to the internet, and asking you to make creative connections to what you see. Now, if you don't know what participant observation is, it's a fancy word for a way that sociologists sometimes do ethnographic work. Now, we're not going to be doing it in the way that sociologists do it. We're not going to go through ethics or anything like that. We're just asking you to observe something that's all around you, part of your everyday life. And so to end today's lecture, I'm going to ask you to have a look at this little clip on participant observation, just to give you a sense of how important it is for those of us in the arts and social sciences for creation of new knowledge, particularly knowledge about our everyday life. So that's the end of our formal lecture today, and I hope you'll be able to join us for the lecture run-through on Collaborate, but if not, we'll see you in tutorials this week. Thanks.